Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I think I say that before every video, which I guess is kind of inevitable when I only have like 5 videos on this channel. But in years past, I had another YouTube channel where I uploaded predominantly makeup content, and this was during an era of my life I do not like to remember. So when I was in middle school, I was super into makeup YouTube, and I was at my peak makeup phase, and I would say 2016, and that was the era of full coverage, matte foundation, the modern renaissance, the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. Yeah, I wanted it all. But even though I am no longer as into makeup as I once was, I still do enjoy, you know, doing some fun eyeliner, putting a little glitter on my face, and I am definitely influenced by trends. So I'm kind of going through a whole cream product phase, more of a light coverage situation, just like the rest of the internet is. So I thought that it would be fun to compare my makeup in 2016 with my makeup in 2021. And yes, I do know that this is a TikTok trend, but I am just extending it for this longer formatted video. So now that I have my pig headband on and have applied my $1 lip balm from Daiso that is 50% petroleum jelly and 50% dye and scent, so I am now putting on the Glossier Priming Moisturizer on the side of my face that I'm doing today's makeup on. I really enjoy this product, but the one thing I will say about Glossier stuff is that it's so much tinier in real life. Like, I don't know why. I thought this was going to be like a ginormous tube. And then when I got it, I was like, it's a little baby. I went to the Glossier store in LA. I got horribly lost too while I was there. Bad times. But I was like, everything is a little baby. Everything is so tiny. I was in shock. On the past half of my face, I'm putting on my El Roche-Posay moisturizer. My mother purchased this for me because it had SPF 15, and I don't really remember using it or what it felt like to use it, but I do remember thinking it was amazing, but I did not really have that much to compare it to, so I don't really think you should take my word for it. But I do remember it being kind of expensive. But now that I have my face moisturized, it's time to move on to eyes. So on both my eyes, I just use this because I've had it for a long time, and it works. So in the age of beauty YouTube, I too fell under the trance of the Anastasia Dip Brow, and I purchased it, even though my eyebrows need to be plucked and not filled in. So that is what I did. I have this awkward ridge in my eyebrow that I would try to like manipulate, but it just made me look like James Charles in his CoverGirl ad, which was not the look, or it kind of was the look, but it was an era. So I will be filling in my eyebrow. I have now filled in this eyebrow. The difference isn't too drastic. You can tell that this little arch here is filled in, but it's not that big of a difference or anything. But that's what I did. And currently I do nothing with my eyebrows. I used to put clear brow gel in them, but then my clear brow gel dried up because I didn't wear makeup for a year because I was living through a global pandemic. So now I just kind of brush them up, you know, for the soap brow trend. It is amazing how much my eyebrows can change just by brushing them because they're so bushy. But anyway, let's move on to the eyes. So now it's time to move on to the eyes. And during 2016, I loved this eyeshadow palette. This is the ColourPop Double Undaunted palette, and it is just your basic brown warm toned neutrals palette, but it was a warm toned neutrals palette, and it was 2016 and it was cheap, so I bought it because I was 12 and did not have any income. But I remember being appalled by the shade names. I was beside myself, and this is what they're called for reference. But I'm gonna try to use the same brushes that I used at the time, just because I think it'll be more fun. So I would just set the eye with this cream shade that's like darker than my actual skin tone, which was a little strange. And I also use this Sephora 09 brush, 60 brush. I was looking at it upside down, which is not the best brush for eyeshadow. But then I would take this orange shade right here called Hard. I was, again, beside myself, and I would just put this in my crease. I low-key have the same eyeshadow technique that I did when I was 12, so don't yell at me, but I would just put this in my crease and hope for the best. Once I have that orange shade in the crease, I go in with the darker maroon shade called Extracurricular, and then I just put that in my crease using this $1 e.l.f. brush. So now that I have this outer crease action creating my dimension, just want to blend a little bit more so it looks halfway decent. And I am surprised at how well these eyeshadows are performing for how old they are. But yeah. Okay, so now that I have the basic eye done, I'm gonna go in with this shimmer. And I applied shimmer with my finger! Yay! So the shimmers in this palette are actually surprisingly good. Or it's ColourPop, so it's gonna be good. But I like this shade Naked, or it's spelled funny, but like that's what it's called. Which is this one right here. And I just put my finger and put it all over my eye. So yeah. So this is our finished eye. It is a little patchy right here just because the eyeshadow's a little old and that brush was a little irritating. But overall, could definitely be a lot worse. I remember wearing this eye look to school, which was a little scandalous at the time. And an 8th grader complimenting me and me thinking that I was like the coolest person ever. And being like, I'm so good at makeup, I'm so cool. And her eyebrows were like this large, but I thought that was cool too. So what can I say? But next we're gonna be doing eyeliner. And I had a very difficult time with eyeliner at this time. My eyes, they're a little hooded. And I hadn't really come to terms with that for some reason. Like I kept watching these cat eye eyeliner tutorials, people who had a completely different eye shape than me, and wondering why my eyeliner always turned out wonky. And my eyes are also slightly two different shapes. So the way I do my eyeliner on one side isn't the way I can do it on the other because I'm a little bit asymmetrical. So I would do this very weird tiny wing look that in retrospect was really ugly, but at the time I thought made me look quite cool. So I'm just going to be replicating that on my eye. And this is our finished eye. So I'm now going to be doing my 2021 eye, and I'll admit my eye makeup is a little e-girl, but I like it and that's what's important. So I'm just going in and then setting my eyelid with a shade that is a true white, so the colors blend easier. And then I'm going in with an actual tapered brush, and I'm using the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, which is kind of a tongue twister if you say it too fast, but then again I am really bad at tongue twisters. And then I'm just taking this hot pink shade at the bottom and I'm putting that all over my eyelid in the crease. And then once I have that in the eyelid, I just take the same brush, or this is from the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm just taking this darker pink and then I'm adding some depth to my crease just like I did on the other eye, because once I have a routine, I stick to it. And I'm just going to use the packing side to pack in a little bit more of the deeper pink color just so I can get a little more pigment on my eye. And then once we got the pink in my eye, on top of my eye, I'm taking this Essence Get Your Glitter On Glitter Primer. This is not that good of a glitter primer, but it does actually like do the job, but it kind of takes off the eyeshadow underneath, so you gotta be a little careful. But it was like $2, so I don't really think I have a room to complain. So I just take this on my finger and then put it on my eyelid. So next I'm going to be adding the shimmer to the eye, and I have my flat brush from the Naked 3 palette. Yes, I have a Naked 3 palette. And then I'm taking my ColourPop in a Trance palette and dipping into the pink shade, the pink shimmer shade called Crown Chakra. The only good thing about these palettes are the shimmer shades, because ColourPop has a really good shimmer formula, but the mattes are so light, and I'm a ghost. If they're light and patchy on me, that means your formula is bad. So then I just take that onto the flat brush and then pack that on to the blank spot in my eye. And then once I have my shimmer on, it's eyeliner time. And my eyeliner has grown exponentially in the past 5 years, so this is going to be an odd comparison, but I do not have to work to make my eyeliner even, so that's the only good thing about this. So I'm gonna draw my wing. So now that we have our eyeliner for my 2021 eye, it's time to add the glitter. So yeah, I add multiple different varieties of glitter to my eye to achieve the full effect. So I'll walk everybody through those. So I like using these e.l.f. Stardust glitter eyeliners, and there's 2 different shades. One of them has like a pink reflectant and one of them has like a bluey green reflectant. So depending on my eye makeup, I go for a different shade. But I just take a little brush and I just put it all over where the shimmer is, just to add a little extra pop, you know? So now that I've added that glitter, I'm adding more glitter in the way of these ColourPop body glitters. I'm not sure if you're supposed to put these on your eye, but nothing bad's happened to me yet, so I think it's safe. I'm taking the pink shade, which is After Party, and just dabbing that onto my eye for a little extra glitter action. I will now be adding mascara, and on this side I'm gonna use the Milk Makeup Weed Mascara. This is surprisingly good. It doesn't smell like weed though, a little disappointed. But I'm just using this because this is the most volumizing mascara I own at the moment. But I religiously use the Roller Lash Mascara at this time, but I lost it like 3 years ago, so I'm using this one. But I still have my eyelash curler, which was again purchased from Forever 21. So I'm gonna be curling my lashes and praying that my eyeball doesn't pop out and like roll on the ground. Once I have my eyelashes curled, I'm just taking my mascara and applying it. Woo! Once I got that mascara on, my lashes, they're kind of tiny, so you can't really tell, but I did it, so we're doing it for the sake of the video. And then on the other eye, I'm just using my Glossier mascara. I really like this. I got a bunch of Glossier products, and a lot of them I didn't like, but this was one of the few that I really did. So then I'm just applying that to the other eye. I do not apply any eyeshadow to my lower lash line or any mascara to my lower lashes because it looks awful on me, and I'm not really sure why. But again, once I got a routine, I stick to it. But now we're gonna move on to face makeup, which I think is where my routines change the most, because although my eyeliner has gotten a lot bigger and the colors have gotten a lot brighter, the technique is still pretty much the same. So I think the face will be where we see the big difference. So let's get moving. So now we're moving on to primer, and on this side of my face I'm using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer in a low sample size. During this time there was this Wet n Wild primer that I love that they don't make anymore, but I thought it was amazing. I also used the Maybelline dupe for the Professional primer from what's that brand called? Oh, from Benefit, and it made my skin look awful, but I was so under the spell of Beauty Gurus. I would wear the full coverage matte foundation and then wonder why my face looked like crap. And it's like, because you don't have a ring light. I kind of feel lied to sometimes, because it took me so long to come to terms with the fact that I have decent skin, that my skincare routine is enough. It's just skin looks like skin, and skin is skin, and it's not gonna look airbrushed like it is in Beauty Guru videos, because skin is skin, you know? I went through so many different skincare products to try to achieve what I saw all my Beauty Gurus looking like, and I never did. Or that's partly because I have sensitive skin, so having like a 7-step skincare routine made my skin worse. So I guess that was kind of on me, but I just think a little bit of transparency between beauty gurus and their audience about what their skin looked like and what their makeup looked like in person would have really helped me when I was like 12 and wondering why I had texture on my skin, even though that's inevitable. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about that. I would always add a shimmery primer, and this was one of my favorites. As you can see, there's like none left. I do not believe that this brand exists anymore. I think it was Walgreens' attempt at going into the makeup industry, and it did not really work because I never see them at Walgreens anymore, but they're the CYO and I only ever saw them at Walgreens. But this is their shimmer primer in the white shade because I'm pale. And this was basically just putting specks of glitter on your face. And I do not know what it was with people putting on glittery and dewy primers and then putting matte foundation on top of it. Like, what was that? Why would you? I don't know. In retrospect, I feel so stupid, you know? How did I become so entranced? But I love this. It does give a nice glow, but after a couple hours, you just have these awkward specks of glitter, which is not ideal. On the other side of my face for primer, I'm just using the Wet n Wild Dewy Luminex primer. I've only had this for like a couple months. And again, I guess it's a glittery primer, but it gives more of a real glow as opposed to like specks of shimmer like the one from Walgreens that I just put on. But I tend to have really good luck with Wet n Wild primers and Wet n Wild face products in general. So yeah. So we're now going to be moving on to foundation. And for my 2016 side, I'm using the one and only Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in the shade Porcelain. And I honestly really enjoy this foundation. I think it is good. It looks really nice on my skin. I'm not the biggest fan of the paddle applicator, and I'm not the biggest fan of the shade range, but it is a decent foundation. I've actually repurchased this multiple times because, again, once I find something good, I like it. But I would apply way too much of this to my face. Because now if I use this foundation, I do like one paddle. But 4 years ago when I used this foundation, I put on way too much. And I'm going to be using Beauty Sponge. I started doing makeup in the era of the Beauty Blender. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I've purchased a Beauty Blender at least 3 times. And I really like applying my makeup with a Beauty Sponge. This was a lot better than I thought it was going to be considering how much I put on, but anyway. But the reason I never wanted to use the Real Technique sponge is because it had a slightly different texture than the Beauty Blender. And I have this thing where some textures, I'm just not the biggest fan. I like can't use the product. And this e.l.f. sponge has the same like bounciness as the Beauty Blender, which is a texture I can tolerate. So that's why I use this one. But yeah. I'm putting this on my face, and again, it's like, I would say it's light coverage to medium coverage. It's not the most buildable product in the world, but again, this is not as bad as I remember it being. I'm gonna add a little bit more just because I remember looking super cakey, and I don't think I'm fully achieving what I put myself through. So this is when things are going to take a brutal turn. I have really crinkly under eyes, and that's just how my under eyes look. And so a lot of the times concealer looks awful on me. Like what I have of under eye bags is more tolerable than the creasiness that occurs when I try to use concealer. The ColourPop concealer is like, I love this concealer. I really do like it. But during my makeup phase, full coverage was all the rage, and I wanted the Tarte Shape Tape so badly. But I'm 12. I can't afford that, so I bought tons of dupes. And one of those dupes is this e.l.f. concealer, the 26 Hour Camo Concealer. I also used the Revolution concealer that was supposed to be a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, and they looked awful on my skin. But I lied to myself, you know, I told myself that this is good, you know, I just have bad skin, I just need to moisturize more, it's fine. And it's just, people's skin is different. So I put on the iconic triangle underneath my eyes, and it was pretty iconic. So I'm taking, oh my gosh, this feels so wrong. So I'm getting my big freaking triangle, and then I put some on my chin. I put some on my forehead, even though I've had bangs for my whole entire life. So why did I put concealer on my forehead? I don't know. And then I would cream contour, but I don't have any of my cream contour products, so we're just not going to do that. But I am putting my line of concealer that I used when I did my cream contouring. So now we're going to be blending this out and praying that it doesn't dry down. Because if I remember correctly, this does dry down awfully quickly. Oh my god, this is so bad! Okay, this is more what I remember my makeup looking like. This cakey, sticky mess. But to make this problem even worse, we're gonna bake! Yay! I remember being really into the science of baking, like how loose powder actually worked. And that was, I don't know if that's impressive or embarrassing, but I'm leaning towards embarrassing. But I'm using the iconic Maybelline Fit Me powder. So I'm just putting a little in the thingy. I really wanted the Laura Mercier translucent powder, but why would I buy like $40 of powder? I'm gonna look like a flashback Mary. So I'm taking my sponge, dipping it in my powder, and I'm gonna go over my sink for this so I don't get it all over the floor. But then I'm gonna make my under eyes. Now that I have the powder on my under eyes, I would take a pressed powder and put more powder on my face. Yay! So now that this half of my face is all set, it's time for bronzer. And you know, I would contour, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. I just need to find my contour brush. Okay, I exclusively used e.l.f. brushes, so this is pretty this really takes me back. So I would usually cream contour, but I got rid of all my cream contouring products. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Hoola bronzer and go like this. I just died inside. And then I would just blend it out. I would take the Hoola Light, and I would just go like this. Oh, this isn't gonna blend. This is so awful. Okay, I'm gonna wipe away my pressed powder, and then we can bronze. I don't know what this is. I'm so sorry. This is starting to feel a little more accurate. So now we're gonna take this angled brush from ColourPop, and I'm going into the Hoola regular, and then I'm gonna bronze. So I did not bronze correctly, and it was kind of a train wreck. But I would just take bronzer and put it all over my face to give myself the glow. But this bronzer, in retrospect, I think is a little like dark for me. Like, look at that. That's not cute. That's ugly. And this brush is not made for bronzing. Like, I don't know what I was up to. And then I would bronze here. And then, oh, I forgot to put foundation on my nose. There's so much on this sponge. Like, there we go. And then I would also contour my nose, but I would just take a ginormous brush and go like this. And it really didn't do anything except make me look like I had dirt on my nose, which I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought I was pretty cool. So yeah, now we're just gonna blend it out a little bit more with this brush and try to save whatever the heck's going on over here. So the problem hasn't improved, but it hasn't gotten worse. And I'm okay with that. So next we're gonna add a little bit of blush. Nobody added blush in this era of YouTube, but I'm gonna, just for the vibes. But I used a blush brush that I don't think I have anymore, but it was very like Claire's makeup vibe. But I'm just gonna use this one, and I'm just dipping into this cheap e.l.f. brush, and I'm just going like this. And that's all I did for blush. Compared to my e-girl look now, quite the jump. And then finally, highlighter. If you are on the internet in 2016, specifically makeup YouTube, you were just bombarded with highlighters. And you know, it was kind of a lot. Everybody wanted to have this blinding highlight that looked terrible in real life. And I was constantly trying to achieve that look on a budget and with textured skin. You can't tell because this camera's nice, but I have all these little baby bumps on my skin. It's a long story. And those blinding highlighters, they highlight that, not the glow of your cheeks. I also used this highlighter in a MAC palette that my aunt gave me. And by looking at this highlighter, you can tell it's a little dark, but I was gonna put it on anyway. And the thing is that when you put on a dark highlighter, you give yourself a shadow. And so it looks awful. But anyway, I'm gonna be taking the e.l.f. highlighting brush and I'm just gonna dip into that, take myself back to 2017 and put that all over my my cheek. I'm also just gonna use this Too Faced Candlelight highlighter because it's slightly better quality, and it'll give me more of that over-exaggerated highlight I'm craving. And then here's where it gets crazy. I would put highlight on my chin and on my over here on my T-zone. Why did I do this? I was a slave to beauty YouTube. And then I'm again putting a little on my nose. Again, contour your nose and then put a ginormous dollop of highlight on it. That's how you know your makeup is making complete sense. So now we're gonna move on to the other slightly more manageable side that's not as scary. And I'm gonna use my ColourPop Pretty Fresh tinted moisturizer. Usually I apply this with a beauty sponge, but because my beauty sponge has so much other product in it, I'm just gonna break the makeup rules and apply it with my hands. No, I'm gonna apply with a sponge. I can't do that today. Yes, like that with a sponge. And I'm very light with my foundation. Then I'm just gonna add some of the ColourPop blurring under eyes stuff, and then a little bit, oh this is milk, sorry, the milk blurring under eyes stuff. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of this ColourPop concealer, but I'm more gonna add a tiny bit down there for the sake of brightening and not to make myself look bizarre. And then I'm just gonna set my makeup with some of the Fit Me powder and a fluffy brush. I don't bake, I just take it and then bloosh it across my face. I usually use a pressed powder, but I'm running low on pressed powder. And I'm gonna take this off right as I'm done filming this video because who would go out like this? Not me. So I'm just setting it to give it a less dewy vibe, like more of a natural look, you know? And I'm still gonna add a little bit of bronzer. I'm just gonna go in with Hoola Light and again the same fluffy brush. And I just very lightly floof around the chin, add some little floofs of the light bronzer just to give myself a glowy look and not someone punched me and I'm healing from the bruise look. And then I'm just gonna add blush. I use lots of blush. I've been really into the Fenty Beauty one of these dudes in Yacht Life. I really like this. I was actually surprised with how much I like it because I see a lot of mixed reviews about the glow sticks, the sticks. I don't know what these are called. Oh, match sticks, that's what they're called, because they're magnetic. Do I have anything magnetic? I don't have anything magnetic to stick it to, but it's magnetic. And I prefer to blend out cream blushes with my hand than a beauty sponge, just because I find it makes the process go a bit quicker. And as long as I'm cleaning my fingers, I'm not really infecting my skin with any bacteria. And because I apply hand sanitizer every single time I see a hand sanitizing station inside a store, my hands are like super dry and very sanitized. I'm then adding a little bit of the NARS Orgasm Blush. I was again flabbergasted by this name when I originally purchased it, but luckily I've come to terms with the blush. So I'm just adding a little bit of that blush to my cheeks and over here on my nose. So now I'm going to be adding even more blush using this cheap elf blush with my fluffy brush. Sorry, that's another tongue twister. Just because, again, I want to go for that e-girl look, you know? I'm kind of vibing. So as you can see, I still kind of go for a heavy blush instead of heavy bronzer, but I go for kind of a light base, you know? And I still wear just a little bit too much highlighter, but I'm here to admit that. And then I'm going to be taking Glossier's Halo Scope, one of these, and just putting it up here like this. And then I'm taking a fan brush so I won't have as controlled of a hand on my highlighter, so it does not look as crazy as it does over here. And the Too Faced Candlelight highlighter in a tiny size, it shattered, so I had to mix the two things together. But then I just boop-a-doop, and it gives such a nice glow. And then I like to add a little bit of glitter. I have lots of glitter, but today I'm feeling the All Aura Again shade in this palette, which is this like bizarre loose glitter situation. And I just like to put this on my cheeks. And now onto lips. This is the part that I'm kind of worried about because my lips, there's not much real estate. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I really like to use this Burt's Bees lip shimmer in this shade on this like today, so I'm gonna put it on this side of my lips. So once I have that on the other side, you know, I loved red lipstick, and I'm gonna take it back and I'm gonna put on my Fenty red lipstick. This is an amazing red lipstick, but I pretty much only wear it for like holiday parties and like costume events. And I'm very bad at applying this lipstick just because I have terrible fine motor skills. It's taken me so long to be able to do eyeliner this decent. And I'm just not really there yet with lips, but let's hope. We have the 2016 side, and then we have the 2021 side. I could be like a one-woman play, like, hello there. Hi. Wow, I should Juilliard material. But yes, this is the final look. As we can see, I still do use way too much of one face product. Just on this side, it is bronzer, and on this side, it's blush. I still basically do my my eyeshadow, sorry, the same exact way. But I have become less heavy with the base products, and I have learned to not fall under the spell of beauty influencers. And I think that my tale can be a warning sign to those of an impressionable age on this platform, that beauty gurus and other influencers will trick and manipulate you to sell you stuff, and they will willingly do so. Now, I do not think that every beauty guru is a terrible person. There are a lot of small beauty creators that I still watch on a regular basis, but I do think that some of the bigger ones, especially during this like peak of interest in the YouTube beauty community at this 2016 time, and where the makeup industry really started to get the gears going, that there was a lot of deception, from lying about how people's skin actually looked till the whole discount code fiasco. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!